The first indication something was wrong came from my security system. An alert that someone had entered the gate code at my Pacific Palisades estate at 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was in London closing a deal for my investment firm when the notification pinged my phone. I pulled up the security camera feed and watched a sleek black Mercedes pull up my circular driveway. A woman in a designer suit emerged, followed by my mother. My mother, who had my gate code for emergencies, was letting a stranger into my property. I watched them walk around the grounds, the woman taking photos, my mother gesturing expansively at the ocean view, the infinity pool, the tennis courts. They disappeared inside, into my house, and I felt my jaw clench. I called my property manager. "Thomas, there are people at the estate. My mother and someone else. Did you authorize this?" "No, Ms. Winters. I had no notification of any visitors." "Should I head over?" "Yes. Immediately. And call me when you get there." 20 minutes later my phone rang. "Ms. Winters, I'm at the property. Your mother is here with a real estate agent named Vanessa Cole from Prestige Properties. They're conducting a showing." "A showing?" "Of my house." "That's what they said. The agent has a listing agreement. She seems to believe she has authorization to market the property." "I never gave authorization to list my house. Tell them to leave. Now." "Yes, ma'am." I hung up and immediately called my attorney in Los Angeles. "Richard, someone is trying to sell my house without my permission." "Which property?" "Pacific Palisades. My primary residence." My mother apparently signed some kind of listing agreement claiming she has authority to sell it. Silence. "Then, that's real estate fraud, Isabel. Serious fraud." "Who's the agent?" "Vanessa Cole. Prestige Properties. I'll contact her immediately and inform her she's been given fraudulent listing authorization. I'll also send a cease and desist to your mother. And Isabel, you need to come home. This could escalate." I caught the next flight to Los Angeles. 12 hours in first class, my mind racing through scenarios. Why would my mother try to sell my house? How did she think she'd get away with it? When I landed, there were 17 missed calls from my parents and 12 from my brother Derek. I ignored them all and drove straight to Richard's office. "Here's what I've discovered," he said, spreading documents across his desk. "Your mother signed a listing agreement 3 weeks ago, representing herself as authorized to sell the property on behalf of the owner. She provided what appears to be a power of attorney document giving her authority over your real estate holdings." "I never signed a power of attorney." "I know. I've examined it. The signature is forged. Badly forged." He pulled up the listing on his computer. There was my house, my 12,000 square foot estate with ocean views, listed for $28.5 million. $28.5 million, I repeated. "I paid $32 million for it 4 years ago." "She's underpricing it significantly." "Which suggests urgency. The agent, Vanessa Cole, has already shown the property to 6 potential buyers. 2 have made offers." "Offers?" "On my house. On a house she believes is legitimately listed." Ms. Cole had no reason to doubt your mother's authority until Thomas confronted her. Now she's cooperating fully with our investigation. "What does my mother say?" "She's not returning my calls. But your brother Derek has been very vocal on social media about his upcoming wedding. He's posted about his venue, the Beverly Wilshire Ballroom. His honeymoon 3 weeks in Bora Bora. His fiancée's dress, custom Vera Wang. Total estimated cost of the wedding, $4 million. My stomach dropped. They're selling my house to pay for Derek's wedding? That appears to be the plan, yes. I sat back processing. My parents had always favored Derek. The golden child. The son who'd gone into their family real estate business, who'd dated the right people, who was now marrying a socialite whose family owned half of Orange County. But I'd never imagined they'd commit fraud to fund his wedding. "What are my options?" I asked. "Several. 1. We report this to the FBI. Real estate fraud across state lines, and you were in London when this started, makes it federal. 2. We handle it civilly, demanding the listing be pulled and seeking damages. 3. We confront your family directly and attempt to resolve it. What do you recommend?" "Honestly, the FBI. This isn't a misunderstanding. Your mother forged legal documents and attempted to sell a $30 million property she doesn't own. That's serious criminal fraud. I nodded slowly. Do it. Report it. The FBI agents arrived at my parents' house 2 days later. I know because Derek called me screaming. What the fuck did you do? The FBI is here. They're talking about fraud charges. Mom is crying. Dad is threatening to sue you. Derek, Mom tried to sell my house without permission to pay for your wedding. That's fraud. She was helping me. We needed the money for the wedding. So you steal from me? It's not stealing when it's family property. It's not family property. It's my property. I bought it with my money from my investment firm. You have no claim to it whatsoever. You're really going to send our mother to prison over this? I'm really going to hold people accountable for attempting to commit real estate fraud. Yes. He hung up on me. My mother called 10 minutes later hysterical. How could you do this to me? To your own mother? The FBI, Isabel. They're treating me like a criminal. You're a criminal, Mom. You forged documents to try to sell my house. I was helping your brother. This wedding is important to him. To our family. You have that enormous house just sitting there while Derek struggles to afford the wedding he deserves. Derek doesn't struggle. Derek makes $200,000 a year working for Dad's company. And even if he did struggle, that doesn't give you the right to steal my property. Steal? You're my daughter. What's yours is the family's. That's how it works. No, Mom. That's not how it works. That's not how property ownership works. That's not how the law works. The law? You're choosing the law over your family. You chose crime over respecting your daughter. Don't turn this around on me. I hung up as she started crying. The investigation moved quickly. The FBI examined the forged power of attorney, interviewed Vanessa Cole, reviewed the security footage of my mother bringing potential buyers to my property. Vanessa was mortified. Ms. Winters, I am so sorry. Your mother was incredibly convincing. She knew details about the property, had documents that looked legitimate. I had no reason to suspect fraud. I understand. You're cooperating, which I appreciate. I've already pulled the listing and contacted all potential buyers to inform them the sale cannot proceed. 2 of them are threatening to sue your mother for wasted time and legal fees incurred in preparing offers. That's their prerogative. Ms. Winters, I have to ask, why would your mother do this? I explained about Derek's wedding, the $4 million budget, their expectation that I'd help fund it. Vanessa's eyes widened. $4 million for a wedding? And they thought selling your house without asking was the solution. Apparently they thought I wouldn't mind. Or wouldn't find out until it was too late. She shook her head in disbelief. I've been in real estate for 20 years. I've never seen anything like this. The federal prosecutor assigned to the case called me directly. Ms. Winters, I'm Assistant U.S. Attorney Michelle Park. I've reviewed your case. Your mother is facing serious charges. Wire fraud, forgery, real estate fraud. If convicted, she's looking at up to 20 years in federal prison. My stomach turned over. 20 years. The dollar amount involved makes this a high-value fraud case. The forged documents, the interstate nature of the crime, these are all aggravating factors. What are my options? You can choose not to press charges. The government might proceed anyway given the severity, but your cooperation as the victim is important. Alternatively, you can offer a plea arrangement. Your mother pleads guilty to lesser charges, agrees to counseling and restitution, avoids prison time. What about my father and brother? They knew about this. We're investigating their involvement. If your brother benefited from the plan proceeds, he could be charged as an accessory. Your father's knowledge makes him potentially liable as well. I thought about my family. About Derek's dream wedding evaporating. About my mother in federal prison. About the complete destruction of our already strained relationship. I need time to think, I said. Take the time you need. But Ms. Winters? Your family attempted to steal $30 million from you. Don't let guilt make you minimize that. My father finally called me a week after the FBI raid. Isabel, we need to talk. In person. We met at a coffee shop in Santa Monica. He looked older, diminished. The confident real estate mogul reduced to a frightened father facing his daughter's wrath. Your mother made a terrible mistake, he began. A mistake? Dad, she forged documents and tried to sell my house. That's not a mistake. That's a crime. She was desperate. Derek's wedding costs have spiraled out of control. His fiancée's family expects a certain standard. We've already committed to venues, deposits, vendors. We're in too deep to back out. So your solution was to steal from me? Not steal. We were going to tell you. After the sale went through. We thought you'd understand, family helping family. By selling my home without asking me? He looked down at his coffee. We thought you wouldn't mind. You travel constantly. You're never there. And we knew you could afford another house. Your investment firm is worth hundreds of millions. What's one house to you? I stared at him. What's one house to me? That it's my home. The first property I ever bought with my own money. The place I decorated myself where I plan to eventually raise a family. It's not just an asset on a balance sheet, it's mine. We didn't think about it that way. Clearly. You thought about Derek's wedding and decided my property was expendable to fund it. Can you blame us? He's our son. This is his one wedding. You'll have other houses. That's not the point. The point is you don't get to decide what I do with my property. You don't get to forge documents and commit fraud because you overspent on a wedding. He was quiet for a long moment. What do you want from us? I want you to understand that what you did was wrong. Deeply criminally wrong. I want Derek to cancel his ridiculous $4 million wedding and plan something he can actually afford. And I want my mother to face the consequences of her choices. You're really going to send her to prison? She sent herself to prison when she committed fraud. Isabel, please. She's your mother. Have mercy. I looked at this man who'd raised me, who'd always preferred my brother, who was now begging me to let his wife avoid accountability for trying to steal from me. I'll consider a plea deal, I said finally. Probation, restitution for any costs I've incurred, mandatory counseling. But Derek's wedding gets downsized. No Bora Bora, no Beverly Wilshire, no custom Vera Wang. He plans something within his actual means. He'll be devastated. He should have thought of that before participating in fraud. The plea deal was struck 3 weeks later. My mother pleaded guilty to attempted fraud and document forgery. She received 5 years probation, 200 hours of community service, and was ordered to pay $150,000 in restitution covering my legal fees, security upgrades, and the costs of unwinding the fraudulent listing. My father avoided charges by cooperating with investigators. Derek was not charged but was devastated when the plea terms required him to cancel his elaborate wedding. The deposits were lost, nearly $500,000 my parents had already spent. He sent me one email. I hope you're happy. You've destroyed my wedding and ruined Mom's life. Some sister you are. I didn't respond. Instead I focused on my house. My beautiful Pacific Palisades estate that was still mine, still home, still the sanctuary I'd built for myself. I upgraded all the security systems, changed every code and key, made it clear to my property manager that my parents were never to have access again. 6 months later I got a wedding invitation. Derek and Vanessa, his fiancée, were getting married at a small vineyard in Napa. 50 guests. Simple ceremony. Reasonable budget. The invitation was addressed just to me. No +1. And at the bottom in Derek's handwriting, I'd like you to be there. If you can forgive me. I called him. Derek, did you write this note? Yeah. Look, Isabel, I've had time to think. What Mom did was insane. What I expected from you was entitled and wrong. I let wedding planning turn me into someone I'm ashamed of. You participated in fraud. I know. I didn't forge the documents or list the house, but I knew what was happening and I didn't stop it. I thought you owed me. Owed the family. I was wrong. Yes. You were. Can you forgive me? Eventually. I thought about it. Maybe. But Derek, things are different now. I'm not a family bank account. I'm not a resource to be exploited. If we rebuild this relationship, it has to be built on respect. I understand. Will you come to the wedding? I'll think about it. I did think about it. Long and hard. In the end I went. I wore a simple dress, brought a modest gift and sat in the back. The wedding was lovely. Intimate. Derek and Vanessa looked genuinely happy, surrounded by people who loved them, not impressed by extravagance. At the reception my mother approached me carefully. Isabel. Thank you for coming. I came for Derek. I know. I just want to say, I'm sorry. Truly sorry. What I did was unforgivable. I let my desire to give Derek a perfect wedding blind me to what I was doing to you. To our relationship. You tried to steal my home, Mom. I know. I'll regret it for the rest of my life. Tears streamed down her face. Can you ever forgive me? I don't know. Ask me again in a few years. She nodded and walked away. A year after the FBI investigation, my relationship with my family was still fractured but healing. Fully. Derek called occasionally, asking about my work, never about money. My father sent birthday cards, simple notes without requests. My mother was in therapy, working through why she felt entitled to my property. And I was in my house. My Pacific Palisades estate. Still mine. Still home. I'd installed a new gate system. Removed my parents from all access lists. Made it clear through every possible channel that this property was mine alone. As some lessons are expensive. Like learning that family doesn't mean free access to your assets. That love doesn't justify fraud. That even mothers can make choices that destroy trust. I'd protected my property. My boundaries. My right to own something without family feeling entitled to it. And if the cost was distance from family who couldn't respect those boundaries, that was a price I was willing to pay. My house stood on its cliff overlooking the Pacific, beautiful and secure. And it was mine. Wiggly. Completely. Deservedly. No matter who thought they could take it.